This is Aussie Woodshed. My name's Luke, and in today's video we're going to be looking at hand tool jigs. So in today's video I'm just going to look at some of the common jigs that I've got here that could be very useful for your hand tool woodworking, and some of them you might even be able to take with you in a portable box, which is obviously what this series is about, but we're just looking at various options that are available. A lot of these jigs can be scaled up or scaled down in size, and so most of the sizes I've got here are for the workshop, but you could definitely have them in smaller sizes to pack away. So what we have very first is a scrap wood project, and this is the bench hook. Use the hook on the edge of your bench when you're chopping pieces to hold them so you can chop through without damaging your workbench, doing chisel operations, hand planing thinner stock. There is a lot of variations that you can do with the bench hook. Obviously this is a more modern one which has just got a little stop and a fence, in this case screwed on, so you could take it off and replace it, but really I don't end up replacing it. Once this gets too big, because you end up sawing into it, there's no point in really replacing the fence unless the fence goes long before the rest of it. And so this is actually getting close to the end of its life. You can see that I've almost sawn through here, but I'll keep using it for a little bit longer, and who knows, maybe I'll just saw it in here and end up with another smaller one after that, so you could just square it off and keep going with it. But really, this is an essential jig for your woodworking, no matter where you're doing it. And you can actually just have a couple of smaller ones like they would have done more traditionally, which you would have used a thicker stock to actually make this instead of just some scrap. But a couple of smaller ones of these would be very invaluable no matter where you're sawing stuff. So the next jig I'm going to show you here, and arguably the most important jig in a workshop, is the shooting board. This is where most woodworkers, at least modern woodworkers, get their accuracy. You can get your dead accurate, nice, smooth, clean area because you've got your hand plane and a fence that is guaranteeing that you've got the angle that you want. This is obviously a 90-degree one, and this is guaranteed to be dead 90 degrees as long as the side of your board is actually good to go, and you can square that end off and you get that nice smooth grain that you can run a marking gauge, mark on it, and it's just going to increase your accuracy, and a very important jig. Obviously one like this is designed for this workbench here and could do some long grain applications as well. Although you can build dedicated long grain shooting boards like the one I have here, you can also make little dinky ones of these for block planes, or just smaller portable ones that you'd want to take with you in, say, a traveler's tool chest. And let's not forget that you can make all sorts of attachments for no matter the angle. You can actually make them for this. It's all dependent on the blocks that you put on here, angles, so you can do inside miters, outside miters. Ideally you should be using a donkey edge shooting board to do some of those box miters. However, I haven't got one of them, and there are other attachments you can put for these style. There's plenty of videos out there. I haven't actually made one, and I intend on making a donkey edge shooting board. I did get that request a while back and I haven't got to it yet, so do stay tuned. I will eventually get to that video. Now, the next most important, dovetail jigs. I suppose that it depends on whether you're doing dovetails. If you're doing lots of dovetails, these are an invaluable jig because you want to mark your dovetails. Are they necessary per se? No, but they do make it a lot easier, especially for a beginner. And they're so small and easy and portable that why wouldn't you have them? Now, you can obviously buy ones like this. You can make ones like I have here, but of course you need something to mark those angles if you're going to make one. There's various ways you can do that. Or you can actually buy ones that are designed for sawing it and work with the Japanese saws, and they've got little magnets. Katz Moses is the one that I thought of. I'm pretty sure he was the first one to make one. I'm not sure if that's true. You can correct me down below if I am wrong, but he's got one. It lines up, magnets hold the saw, and you can saw in it, and it means that you're going to guarantee your angle and your 90 degrees. So that's another option if you're not as proficient at doing the sawing for the dovetails. Along with the dovetail jigs is what I've got here, a dovetail alignment jig. This excels. It has a fence here and a fence here, meaning that each board you put in is going to be lined up to this side. If you want to line up to the other side, well, you might have to make one that's got a fence on the other side. However, generally your boards are going to be the same width for dovetails most of the time. but I have it lined up for one side, and it allows you to bring this board in, bring this one in, push it down, and so you clamp it in your vise. So your vise holds it here. This board comes down on top, and you can just transfer your tails to your pin board, and that's what it's designed for, the tails to a pin board. Not if you're using pins first, this will not work. And then finally, a jig that might help some of you if you are struggling to hand plane square. So the whole point of this is it's magnetic, it sticks onto the side. I don't use one of these. It is useful for some people. I don't feel that I need one. You can make a wooden one like I've got here, or you can actually buy one. I'm pretty sure Veritas makes one. The only problem is that if your wings are not square, these will not work properly, and that's why a wooden one is better, because a lot of your vintage planes do not have square sides. They weren't machined square to the sole, and so a wooden one allows you to adjust it. But since I don't use this one needs to actually be readjusted. It's actually gone out of square. But that's just something that if you are using one of these, you've got to watch it. I'm not so sure that it's an essential jig. It's definitely essential to some of you that struggle with it and want to make it easier. However, you do have to think and keep checking it and make sure that it is actually square over time, because they will move. So there you have it. That's the essential hand tool jigs that I use in my workshop. I use these quite a bit. The ones I use the most is obviously the bench hook, the shooting board, and the dovetail jigs. The rest, these other two, I don't really use them that much, but they are useful, and that's why I do like the alignment jig sometimes, especially when I'm filming, so I don't have to really think about the alignment, and it's just easier to grab a board and go with it. So that's why I do actually have that, but I don't use it all the time. I still like to use the old school hand plane method of lining it all up, and yeah, maybe I just like the pain of it. I don't know. But once again, what I'd like to hear from all of you out there is, what jigs do you use? I'm sure some of you use jigs here that I've not mentioned, and I'm sure you rely on them every single day. So do sound off in the comments down here what jigs you use. I'm very eager to hear if there's some different jigs that maybe I haven't thought of. Maybe I could do some videos on building some of them if I think they're good enough, so do let me know down below. And if you'd like to see the very first video of this video series for the Traveller's Tool Chest, do check out the overview video here. Bye for now.